from lab to screen, using social media to elevate your research and advocacy. Hello everyone, my name is Shona and I will be your host for this session. I'm a faculty of the Department of Biology of De La Salle University. I've been teaching since 2007 and I've taught subjects from ecology to botany, from genetics to zoology, and so much more. I've taught students from senior high school to college to master's and even PhD. I've also been a scientist for almost as long, with some of my initial work being in the field of genetic engineering. But due to some issues in the acceptance of the technology back then, I shifted my attention to upland and coastal ecosystem management. Through my research in this field, I've worked with different kinds of people, from indigenous groups, but also to fishers and farmers. And this has inspired me to create innovations that help the people who grow and make our food earn more with less resources. And so I've shifted my attention and I'm starting to learn to become an entrepreneur so that we can be more sure that the technologies that we're creating will reach the stakeholders that we hope would enjoy their benefits. But since 2020, I started wearing another hat, that of a science communicator. It was mostly born out of the frustration of being stuck at home and having nothing to do and being unable to do all the field and research work that I wanted to put my energy on. But apart from that, it was also becoming glaringly obvious that we were not just facing the COVID-19 pandemic, but we were also facing a pandemic of misinformation. It was very disheartening to see people believe more in chismes, in internet hoaxes, and in what celebrity advice they could hear than the doctors and scientists who were being interviewed in media. And I realized that here in the Philippines, we need to exert greater effort in order for the general public to start believing in the scientific community of our country. And because of that, SHE-ensya was born. SHE-ensya is a science communication channel that seeks to engage and inspire the Filipino people by sharing fun and accessible information about scientific research in our country and all over the world. We want to foster critical thinking about current events influenced by science. And we also explore the intersections between STEM, art, literature, and pop culture. And all of this effort is because we envision a world where curiosity drives exploration and understanding. And we want to empower more Filipinos to connect with science in meaningful ways. Through innovative content that hopefully inspires engaging discussions, we hope to cultivate an engaged community that bridge the gap between scientific inquiry and creativity, and also incorporate the unique culture that we have in our country. But we're all so busy with work already, right? In balancing teaching, research, and even administrative duties, why should we even bother with social media? Right now, what I'm showing you is a popular meme about an alien telling people that science is so difficult and it's making him sad. Now, memes are cultural icons that are repeatedly shared in different places, but frequently in the internet. Now, what's striking to me about this meme is how so many of our students actually relate to it. A lot of them are curious about STEM, but they think that it's too hard and too complicated for them to understand. They think it's a field that only geniuses are interested in. Of course, that's not necessarily true. And I believe that social media can help us break this misconception. Leveraging social media has actually become very important in the modern world, especially as scientists become burdened with so much additional work. Imagine, social media platforms allows us to share our work with a global audience. This extends our reach beyond academic circles. This accessibility also helps us engage diverse groups, including the public, policymakers, and potential collaborators, increasing awareness and interest in our research. Social media also gives us a dynamic platform that would allow us to simplify some of the more complex aspects of our research and share it with a wider audience. By presenting research in relatable ways, we can foster better understanding among non-experts, encouraging informed discussions and critical thinking about scientific issues. Social media can even facilitate collaboration. Even busy professionals can connect with peers, join discussions, and participate in virtual events without the need for extensive time commitments. We can even share real-time updates about our discoveries, our work, or the events that we are planning to have. And this is without needing to invest significant time in traditional communication methods. Short posts or visual content can effectively communicate key messages quickly. Social media can also serve as a platform for advocacies related to the research that we're doing. By engaging with the public, we can raise awareness about critical topics, influence policy, and encourage action on scientific matters, all while balancing our existing workloads. We can also use social media to highlight the societal impact of the work that we do. Sharing success stories and real-world applications of research can attract funding and support while enhancing the credibility of our findings. Also, establishing a social media presence can help us develop our personal brand. This enhances our professional visibility and is especially beneficial for early career scientists looking to establish themselves in their fields without requiring significant extra effort. So, how do we understand social media? When it comes to social media, there are four giants. The first would be X, previously known as Twitter. We also have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. They all differ in terms of demographic, content style, and engagement. X has a tendency to attract professionals, primarily because of its text-based format. Engagement is dependent on conversations as well as in the promotion of trending topics. Facebook probably has the broadest demographic because of its use of mixed media that includes text, photos, and videos. It allows us to talk about personal stories and even have in-depth discussions about certain topics. Instagram, on the other hand, has a relatively young demographic between 18 to 34, and it employs visual storytelling. We can use it to create brief showcases of our research and maybe even post behind the scenes of what we do in the lab or in the field. And TikTok is probably for the youngest audience of all, for Gen Z and even Gen Alpha. And it makes use of short-form videos that are just about 15 to 60 seconds long. It usually requires fun and relatable content in order for it to be shared to as many people as possible. And then there's YouTube. But is YouTube social media? Some would argue that yes, YouTube is a form of social media because of its user-generated content. YouTube allows users to upload their own videos, which allows us to share our creativity and our unique perspective of the world. It's also very interactive because viewers can engage with content by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to channels. And this fosters a sense of community and interaction among the different YouTube subscribers. Recently, YouTube also includes features such as channels, playlists, and notifications, allowing users to connect with others and follow their favorite creators. And YouTube also allows content sharing in other social media platforms. And this further promotes engagement and interactions. Creators can also use some features of YouTube to develop their communities. We can post interactive Q&A sessions, polls, and even live streams that allow us to interact directly with a lot of our viewers. Now, what are some of the unique aspects of social media that will allow us scientists to share our research to a wider audience? Social media platforms provide global accessibility. This allows messages to reach diverse audiences quickly, ensuring that information is disseminated widely. Social media also fosters real-time interactions, where stakeholders can post questions and we can answer almost immediately afterwards, allowing for greater dialogue even though we might be separated by space and time. The ability of social media to share images, videos, and infographics also makes it easier to present complex information in an engaging and easily digestible format, and so it enhances the understanding of our viewers. Social media also fosters community building, even though it's in a virtual environment. By gathering like-minded individuals, we can increase public engagement and interest in our research and advocacy efforts. And of course, who doesn't want to reach virality? Content on social media can go viral, which means we get to amplify important messages and initiatives and increase awareness and support for our various causes. But don't just take my word for it. Let's look at some of the more successful SciComm projects globally, in Asia, and here in the Philippines to help inspire some of the work that you might do in the future. First off, there's Earth Hour. Earth Hour is a global movement that was organized by the World Wildlife Fund that encourages individuals, communities, and businesses to turn off non-essential lights for 1 hour as a symbol of commitment to the planet. This happens yearly, usually on the first Saturday of March. Millions of people and iconic landmarks around the world participate by switching off lights for 1 hour, creating a visual statement against climate change. The campaign uses social media effectively by sharing campaign information and dates, allowing people to share their personal stories and anecdotes, and reaching viral status through the use of hashtags that allow people to find similar content quickly. Earth Hour also manages to provide educational materials and resources through social media to inform the public about climate issues and promote sustainable practices beyond the event. But more than the educational quality of the campaign, what's interesting to me about it is its capacity to create a global movement. It has united so many different communities all over the world just by leveraging on the use of social media campaigns. And then of course there's the Women in STEM movement that became popular in the ASEAN region, which seeks to empower women to join the STEM fields. This initiative has gained traction across various countries in Southeast Asia and has even opened up different awards and funding opportunities that target talented young women in the different countries of the ASEAN region. The movement started with the initial goal of creating networking opportunities for women in STEM in the Southeast Asian region. This network is supposed to foster mentorship opportunities and thus provide support and guidance for young women in STEM to navigate their careers. Various organizations have since then used social media to share success stories of different ASEAN women, which serves as inspiration for the younger generation. And this has made the STEM fields more attractive to a lot of young women in Southeast Asia. Beyond social media campaigns, the initiative also involves workshops, conferences, and events that celebrate women's contributions to science and technology, creating additional platforms for dialogue and collaboration. This campaign has certainly increased awareness of the importance of having diversity in STEM, and it has inspired so many more young women to go into STEM fields while also highlighting the importance of inclusivity in research and innovation. And here in the Philippines, we have the Earth Day Run, which is an annual event that promotes environmental awareness and also encourages sustainable practices from everyone. The event typically coincides with Global Earth Day celebrations and encourages participants to contribute to environmental causes through fitness and community involvement. Proceeds from the run are usually used to support other environmental projects, such as tree planting, coastal cleanup, and other sustainable development activities. This aligns the event with broader environmental goals, providing participants a tangible way to contribute to conservation efforts. The Earth Day Run is designed to be inclusive across all ages and across all levels of fitness. And you can run for as short as 3 kilometers and 5 kilometers to as long as 10 kilometers to 21 kilometers. This inclusivity makes the event accessible to a larger demographic, engaging both serious runners and casual participants. Recently, the Earth Day Run has used technology to become a little bit more innovative. It now has hybrid and also fully virtual versions. This allows people to participate from anywhere, making the event more inclusive and promoting environmental advocacy even during periods of limited physical gatherings. But in terms of social media, organizers maximize it by using it to provide real-time updates on logistics, post announcements, and even provide environmental tips that all create a sense of community. Participants often share their race experiences, post selfies, and use dedicated hashtags like #EarthDayRunPH, creating a vibrant online community that extends beyond race day. And so, social media has turned Earth Day participants into environmental ambassadors, sort of, by amplifying their stories and contributions. By sharing post-race testimonials, environmental pledges, and sustainable lifestyle choices, participants help create a ripple effect, spreading the message of environmental stewardship. But how do you build an online presence? Social media can also be time-consuming, so you have to choose the right platform that aligns with your target audience. For visual content, platforms like Instagram and YouTube are effective, while X is great for quick updates and engaging with the scientific community. If you're going to use multiple platforms, make sure that you have a consistent branding across all of them. Try to use the same handle, profile picture, and bio elements to make it easier for your audience to recognize you. From there, you can start creating content, which you should make as engaging and as accessible as possible to your target audience. You can use visuals, infographics, and videos to simplify complex scientific concepts. You can combine various content types, from sharing fun facts about different scientific principles, sharing your own experience as a scientist, highlighting other professionals in the field. You can mix and match all of this to keep your content engaging. But you also have to be ready to pay, with both money and also time. In order for your social media pages to be verified, have that check mark at the end of your name, in order to increase your credibility, most social media channels require an annual or monthly payment. And this ends up not being cheap in the long run. Apart from that, it would also require your time. And definitely, your time is worth its own weight in money. So you have to make sure that you still have that space in your schedule to generate content that is authentic to your vision and also to your advocacy. Once you create viral content, people would want to know who you are. And that's the importance of a very good bio in all of your social media pages. One of the things that you have to remember is to focus on what makes you stand out. Try to highlight your main expertise, skills, or accomplishments. Think of the value that you contribute to your field or to your audience. Avoid generic descriptions and showcase your unique contributions. For example, instead of saying you're just a marine biologist or a molecular ecologist, you can mention that you're a scientist who's interested in studying crabs and other marine organisms and how the different factors of the environment affect their growth and development. Very specific, but also very understandable. And related to that, you have to use clear and straightforward language that's tailored to your target audience. Avoid overly technical terms, unless of course your target audience would be experts, which is like preaching to the choir. So, yeah, a language that should be understood by the general public is always the best choice. Aim for a few impactful sentences that are easy to read and convey your core message. For example, you can describe yourself as a science communicator who's passionate about simplifying complex science principles into fun and engaging conversations. And then, make sure to share a hint of your personality, hobbies, or what drives your passion. We have to show people that we're human too. And by adding that personal touch, it will make it easier for other people to relate to us. Optionally, you can add a call to action, like inviting followers to connect or visit a specific page. Maybe you can put in a line that says, "When not in the lab, you can find me hiking or watching a sci-fi movie." Send me a message if you want to talk about science or storytelling. The next thing you want to think about is developing a strong content strategy. To do this, you have to clearly identify the goals of your content. Are you raising awareness, educating, inspiring action? And you have to know who your target audience is. You have to tailor your topics, your tone, and your style to fit your target audience so that they would engage with the things that you create. You have to tailor your content's topic, tone, and style to fit their interests and needs in order to resonate with them. Knowing your purpose and audience ensures that your content is relevant, engaging, and aligned with your objectives, making it more effective. Next, consistency is key, which means you actually have to have a consistent posting schedule, and the way you send your messages, the way you design your visuals, all of these things should be aligned across all of your social media profiles. Whether it's weekly blog posts, daily tweets, or monthly videos, consistency builds trust and helps audiences know what to expect. So we have to leverage on analytics in order to help us improve our social media presence. We can use analytics tools to track which content performs best. We can also know the demographics of our audience and engagement trends. So, regularly review your content and your strategy based on these analytics so you can continuously improve the content that you're creating. When creating social media content, it's so easy to lean towards being very technical and credible to otherwise being very entertaining and impactful. However, we actually have to balance credibility with accessibility when creating content. In order to maximize the impact of our research, academic rigor ensures the validity and reliability of research findings, making the science trustworthy. However, if you present it in a highly technical way, then only a very small, tiny portion of social media users will understand and appreciate your post. By making complex concepts accessible and relatable, you expand the reach of your research, allowing more people, including policymakers, educators, the youth, and the general public, to appreciate and act on it. Also, when research is accessible, it can better inform public opinion, community decision-makings, and even policymakers. Jargon-heavy communication can alienate non-specialists, limiting the influence of research on real-world issues. Science should also promote equity and inclusivity, which means the way we talk about our research should be understandable to as many people as possible, and not just those with the privilege to have highly specialized education. When research is too complex, it creates a barrier for those without formal education in that field. So, what are some tips that I can give about visual communication styles? If you're making videos, keep each shot in your video around 4 to 6 seconds or less to maintain audience attention and keep the pace dynamic. Quick, engaging visuals grab your audience's attention, and it is most likely that they will finish watching your video in fast-paced social media platforms such as Facebook, TikTok, or even Instagram. You also have to ensure that the first few frames are highly visual and incorporate bold, easy-to-read text to convey your main message quickly. Infographics, high-quality images, or animations are very useful when trying to grab the attention of your audience. Remember, viewers often scroll quickly, and the initial visual impact can make the difference between them watching your content or skipping it. Keep your message clear and focused on one point or idea. Avoid cluttering your visuals with too much information, and try to break down complex ideas into digestible segments, emphasizing the main takeaway. Remember, simplicity is key for your audience to understand, remember, and share your content in order for it to achieve virality. Now, what are some of the platforms or tools that you can use if you want to create your own social media content? We actually have so many platforms, from free versions to paid ones. For those of you who want to share photos or videos, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all of these things have their own simple editing tools. But if you want to make something more complex, Canva has its own free suite, while those who want to make it even more refined can try to use Adobe Photoshop. For those who want to do blogging, WordPress and Tumblr has a lot of free tools that allow us to do grammar checks and also to format our blogs to make them more interesting. You can also use Beehive, Squarespace, Substack, and Wix if you want to further refine your website. All of these have free and also paid versions. For those who want to do live streaming, Discord and Twitch are some of the more popular platforms that also have free and paid versions. What's interesting about them is your audience can also donate while they're watching your videos. There are some tools that can help you improve your live streaming, such as those from Crowdcast, Streamlabs, and XSplit. You can also buy some materials or equipment that will allow you to play pre-recorded audio clips that will help your live streaming flow more efficiently. For those who want to start your own podcast, all you need is a good mic, a good internet, and maybe access to Spotify, Anchor, or even RSS. You can have additional tools to make your podcasting more efficient and entertaining by using some of the tools from Audacity, Logic Pro, or Squadcast. And then for our educators in the audience, you can also make teaching tools more efficiently through several platforms. This includes Circle, Disciple, and Disco. Beyond all of the examples I mentioned, there are so many other platforms that you can use to create the content that you want. All you need to have is enough curiosity and, of course, the patience to learn how to use all of these platforms. Next, how do we engage with our audience? First, you have to be consistent and responsive. Regularly interact with your audience by responding to comments, questions, and messages. Create opportunities for dialogues through polls, interactive Q&As, and perhaps even a live stream every once in a while. Active engagement fosters a sense of community and it builds trust. When your followers feel that they are heard and valued, it is more likely that they would stay, consume your content, and even share it with friends and family. Try to partner with fellow science communicators, influencers, or organizations on joint projects, such as co-hosted webinars, guest posts, or collaborative videos. You can cross-promote each other's content to help leverage on each other's community and audience. Collaborations also help expand your reach and credibility while bringing fresh perspectives to your content, making it more appealing to both your followers and your peers. Again, humanize your social media persona by talking about your experiences, sharing your challenges, and also giving insights on some of the more personal aspects of your advocacy. You can show behind-the-scenes glimpses of your work, projects, or daily routines. Personal stories help create emotional connections, making your content more relatable. Followers are more likely to engage with content that feels authentic and gives them a sense of who you are beyond your professional role. In terms of collaboration, there are many ways to do it. One is you don't really have to create a social media page on your own. You can create a team of like-minded people so that some of you will be in charge of writing, some will be in charge of creating the visuals, while others help in the planning of the different topics that you would like to share in your social media channel or page. Another way to do it is by asking some scientists or science communicators to be featured in your channel. This is what I did for my playlist called What It's Like, wherein I featured different women in STEM, including Dr. Reina Bel Reyes, one of my idols in astronomy, in order for me to leverage on the communities wherein they were already popular in, gain credibility because, yay, I got to feature them in my own channel, but also expand my network and learn more about the different fields of STEM that these women are part of. And finally, another form of collaboration is by agreeing to speak in conferences, to be a judge in certain competitions, because through these face-to-face events, we get to meet more people, we get to learn on what kinds of content would resonate with the personalities of the youth or the target audience that we want to create content for. And so these kinds of face-to-face interactions are valuable because in a way, they're a form of research that can inform the content that you create. Another thing that you have to be concerned about when making collaborations would be the halo and horns effect. The halo effect is when you're trying to be part of a new community, you try to collaborate with someone who is well-respected and well-loved in that field or in that group. The love and respect that this partner has will then be partially transferred onto you, making it easier for you to penetrate that group. The horns effect, on the other hand, is somewhat the reverse. The person that you might be collaborating with have a bad reputation on certain groups and communities, and this can also be partially passed on to you if you are seen partnering or being friends with these people. Now, being a content creator and using social media opens you up to a wider audience, which also means you might be getting a lot of criticism. So how do you handle some of those hurtful comments that you might encounter while you're creating your content? Make sure to check if it's constructive feedback and criticism, because if that's the case, you have to take a moment to reflect before responding. Approach the feedback with a calm and open attitude, and with the recognition that if you learn from it, it can actually help you improve your content. Also, a measured response shows professionalism and willingness to grow. This fosters respect and trust among your followers and peers. Now, even if you don't fully agree with the criticism, acknowledge it respectfully. Thank the person for their input, address the key points, and explain your perspective if necessary in a non-defensive way. Engaging thoughtfully shows that you are open for discussion and that you're willing to learn. And this will eventually also improve your reputation. And of course, you have to reflect on the criticism and if valid, use it as an opportunity to improve your content or approach. Show your audience that you're receptive to feedback by creating better quality content. And mention that it was their feedback that helped you get to that point. Applying constructive feedback publicly shows a commitment to improvement. And so it builds loyalty and a positive reputation as a science communicator willing to evolve. But of course, you can also encounter toxic feedback and misinformation. In this case, always remain calm and professional. Avoid heated arguments and emotional responses, as this can escalate the situation. Maintaining professionalism preserves your credibility and helps de-escalate potential conflicts, showing that you handle negativity with maturity and control. If misinformation is spreading, respond with clear, well-identified facts. Provide sources or links to credible research and correct the misinformation without attacking or belittling the person spreading it. By calmly sharing accurate information, you get to educate your audience and slow down the spread of misinformation. And this solidifies your role as a trusted source of knowledge. There are also platform-specific moderation features like blocking, muting, or reporting users who repeatedly engage in toxic behavior. You can also set up your own rules and guidelines for engagement, especially when you're doing live streams, and please be ready to enforce them. Moderation tools help protect your online space from harmful behavior, and this ensures your content remains a safe, constructive environment for followers and peers. So, are you excited to showcase your research and advocacy? Just some final tips on effective storytelling. You have to begin your story with an engaging and relatable hook, such as a surprising fact, a personal anecdote, or a real-world problem that your research addresses. A strong opening not only grabs the attention of your audience, but it also makes them care. And the more they care, the more invested they are about learning more about your message and actually doing something about it. I would like to reiterate that you need to avoid jargon and complex terminology. Explain your research in simple, accessible language that non-experts can understand. Use analogies or metaphors when appropriate. Simplifying complex concepts broadens your audience, makes it easier to remember and to share. It also makes your content inclusive. Try to focus on the people behind the research as well. You can talk about the real-world impact of the findings or how it addresses human challenges. Incorporate emotions such as curiosity, perseverance, or excitement. Adding the human element makes science more relatable. It allows people to feel something about your research, making it more impactful and memorable. And finally, structure your content with a clear narrative arc, including a beginning, which could be a problem or a question, the middle, which is the research process or journey, and the end, the discovery or the solution. Storytelling is more effective in a narrative way. Think of it as holding the hands of your audience and taking them on a journey. It makes things a little bit more easier for them to grasp and to understand. In SHE-ensya, some of the most popular videos that I have created is definitely very human in nature. One of them talks about why we feel dizzy after eating so much food. And in a culture that loves mukbangs and samgyup and also buffets, I think this is a very common problem. And so up to this day, even though I think the video is already 3 years old, it's still one of the most frequently viewed videos in my channel. The second most popular one is the video that talks about the SHE-ensya thesis grant, particularly the one that announces the finalists. This one is popular because of the collaborative nature of it, wherein each of the finalists shot their own videos talking about their research, and I compiled it into one with a little bit of narration on my side. The different communities that these wonderful ladies are part of all contributed to make the video more popular. And finally, one other popular video that I have is about the Philippines being the center of marine biodiversity. What's very useful here is it was framed in such that the Philippines is best at something. And of course, Filipino pride is one of those viral things that will definitely help your content become more popular. So I used this trend to hook people to watching the video, but of course it ends with a greater call to action that we need to take care of our marine ecosystems for future generations. And so the last and most important thing that I want you to think about is, what is your call to action? What is the point of your social media presence or channel? Why is it worth your time? What do you want to happen? In the case of SHE-ensya, I want more people to be interested in STEM. More young Filipinas become part of the Philippine STEM community. So these are dreams of mine that I believe the SHE-ensya channel contributes to. You have to have that arrow, that guiding sign, in order for you to create cohesive content that will support each other in order to achieve that goal. And make sure that everybody knows about this goal as well. I believe that science is for everyone. Whether you're a scientist, a teacher, an engineer, a science communicator, or a science enthusiast, there is something about STEM that can get you excited, and there's something about STEM that can continuously improve our lives. And what I love about social media is that it's a very accessible tool that allows us to make STEM accessible to everyone. And I hope that through this talk, it would inspire you to jump on the challenge to help us communicate science more effectively to the general public. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I was able to contribute something to your science communication journey. If you want to consult something or collaborate, please take note of the information on the screen because it will allow you to contact me. Hope to see you around!